The movie kicks off with a glimpse into the world of Lin Ho-toon, the notorious younger brother of the gang leader, Lin Ho-loong. In the opening scene, we see Ho-toon executing someone in a truck, setting the tone for the brutal nature of the gang world he inhabits. The action then moves to Ho-loong's son's first birthday party, where Madame So-so, Ho-loong's wife, and the gangsters are having a grand time. However, amidst the revelry, Lisa, Ho-loong's mistress and the biological mother of his son, sits alone, lost in thought. It's not until Madame So-so kindly invites her to join them. As the party continued, Ho-loong and Ho-toon received a report that the police were outside the building, warning them not to hold the party. Inspector Liu Chi-chung attempted to reason with Ho-toon, but when Ho-toon provoked the police by blowing cigarette smoke in their faces, the situation escalated quickly. Just as a policeman was about to attack Ho-toon, Ho-loong stepped in and diffused the tension, explaining that the party was being held for his son's birthday. The police eventually left, and the party continued. The following day, Ho-loong and Tong Lai-yu, the man who had financed Ho-loong's gang, were engrossed in a game of chess when Madame So-so entered the room with a check. She presented the check to Lai-yu, who promptly left. Meanwhile, Chi-chung and his partner continued to monitor the activities of Ho-loong's gang, but despite their efforts, they had yet to find any evidence that would warrant the gang's dissolution. Later that same night, tensions between Ho-loong's gang and Billy and his colleagues from the rival Lok Ki-chong gang came to a head, resulting in a brutal fight. As the chaos unfolded, Lok Tin-hoon, a high-ranking member of Ho-loong's gang, stepped in to engage in a one-on-one duel with Billy. In a fierce exchange, Billy was ultimately defeated after Tin-hoon slashed his hand. The scene shifted to a hotel where Ho-loong and his men were gathered, and it wasn't long before he invited So-so and Ting-fat for a secret meeting to discuss drug imports. The skyrocketing prices of drugs had left Ho-loong feeling uncertain about the future of his business. So-so and Ting-fat reassured him that if they didn't import the drugs, other gangs would take over their territory. Later, Ho-loong reached out to his brother, Ho-toon, and invited him to dinner. However, Ho-toon was too busy gambling and ignored his brother's call. As the night wore on, Ho-toon became increasingly frustrated with his losing streak and found himself owing the bookies a substantial sum of money. Meanwhile, Tin-hoon was tasked with escorting one of Ho-loong's men named Chun-tong, only to discover that Cowie from Ki-chong's gang had seized Chun-tong's business. When Tin-hoon confronted Cowie about the situation, things quickly escalated, and Tin-hoon was forced to kill Cowie and his men. The scene shifted to a bar, where Ho-toon was drinking with some ladies. He received a call from his brother, Ho-loong, who urged him not to gamble anymore due to his mounting debts. Feeling remorseful, Ho-toon invited Ho-loong to play a game and reminisce about their childhood. As they played, Ho-toon became emotional and tearful, realizing how much he had troubled his older brother. At Woo's house, Woo returned home to find his wife Tracy pretending to read a book. Little did he know, Tracy's lover, Kwok Wing-ching, had been hiding in the house and slipped out unnoticed while Woo was in the bathroom. The tension was thick as Tracy tried to act normal and Woo remained unaware of the affair that had just taken place under his roof. The next day, Ho-toon led his gang in a drug deal near the harbor, but things quickly turned sour. Their business partner didn't show up, and Ho-toon grew increasingly anxious. When the police arrived unexpectedly, Ho-toon's fears were confirmed that they had been set up. A fierce gunfight erupted, with Ho-toon and his men vastly outnumbered. Miraculously, Ho-toon and a handful of his crew managed to escape the ambush. Woo found himself separated from his crew and in a dangerous situation when he had to fend off the police on his own. Eventually, he was captured by Chi-chung and brought in for questioning. Woo was grilled with a barrage of inquiries, but he chose to fabricate a story and claim that all of the drugs belonged to him. Meanwhile, Tracy was playing mahjong with her friend So-so when news of Woo's arrest came through. Seizing the opportunity to benefit from the situation, Tracy decided to blackmail the gang that her husband worked for. She claimed that Woo knew about the gang's secret accounts and threatened to expose them to the police if the gang did not pay up. Tracy even tried to strong-arm So-so into giving her money, using Woo's arrest as leverage. So-so went to Ho-loong to report Tracy's blackmail, and he was furious that his own people had betrayed him. In a fit of rage, he ordered Ho-toon to eliminate Woo and capture Tracy before executing her. Soon after, Ho-toon and Tin-hoon abducted Tracy and began to interrogate her about the blackmail scheme. Initially, Tracy played dumb and claimed to know nothing. But as Ho-toon's torture tactics escalated, she eventually caved and confessed that Wing-ching was the mastermind behind the extortion plot, not Woo. She also admitted that neither she nor Woo had any knowledge of the gang's secret accounts. Despite this revelation, Ho-toon remained determined to eliminate Woo and ordered his men to carry out the hit. The assassination mission was underway, and the first target was Wing-ching, who would be taken out by Kwok Chi-hong. He staked out Wing-ching from a cliff, waiting for his car to pass by. When Wing-ching appeared with his men, Chi-hong had to take them all out before he could pursue his target. Wing-ching tried to make a run for it, but Chi-hong caught up and brutally murdered him. After the kill, Chi-hong licked the blood off his hands, savoring the taste of victory. Meanwhile, at the police station, corrupt Detective Janet was aiding Tin-hoon and his team in their attempt to infiltrate and assassinate Woo. Tin Hung snuck in through the bathroom while Ting Fat posed as a suspect to gain entry. Shortly after incapacitating the guard, Tin Hung and his team reached Wu's cell. Wu was shocked to see Tin Hung pointing a gun at him and pleaded for his life, but Ting Fat seized Tin Hung's gun and shot Wu. The police heard the gunshot and rushed to the cell room, engaging in a fight with Tin Hung's group. They were outnumbered and cornered, so they needed a diversion. One of Tin Hung's men threw a grenade at Chi Chung, but he managed to shoot Tin Hung's hand, causing the grenade to fall near him. Tin Hung and Chi Hong jumped through the window, but Chi Hong was shot in the leg. They hid behind a wall, and eventually, Chi Hong decided to surrender so that Tin Hung could escape disguised as a policeman. The following day, the police conducted a thorough investigation of their team members and concluded that Janet had betrayed them. While they had been monitoring her for some time, Chi Chung was hesitant to make a quick arrest because they could use her as a valuable pawn to catch Ho Lung's associates. Meanwhile, on a serene golf course, Soso and Ting Fat were hatching a sinister plan. Soso claimed to have insider information on Ho Lung's gang's financial accounts, and they decided to kidnap Lai Yu, Ho Lung's most trusted ally. They believed that Ho Lung would readily pay a hefty ransom to secure Lai Yu's release. The following day, Soso and Ting Fat put their plan into motion. They hired individuals to poison and shoot the guards to successfully kidnap Lai Yu. As soon as Ho Lung got wind of the news, he frantically demanded that Soso prepare a ransom of 200 million yuan to be paid for Lai Yu's release. However, upon reviewing the kidnapping video, Ho Lung noticed an irregularity in the Morse code that his gang typically used. This led him to believe that there were traitors in his organization. Later that evening, Soso and Ho Lung exchanged the ransom money for Lai Yu's release. However, as soon as the money was handed over, the kidnappers vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a bouquet of flowers. Soso was overjoyed that her plan had succeeded. Several days later, Soso received money from the kidnappers and confided in Ting Fat about her concerns. She feared that if the kidnappers revealed the truth to Ho Lung, it would spell the end for both of them. In response, the pair orchestrated a cunning ruse to lure the kidnappers to a supposed lunch meeting. Once there, Ting Fat killed all of them, and Soso and Ting Fat went straight to the location where Lai Yu was being held captive. Without hesitation, Soso shot Lai Yu dead. The following day, a woman discovered Lai Yu's body in the forest, and the news of his death finally reached Ho Lung, who immediately called for an emergency meeting. After reviewing the evidence, they began to suspect Chi Chung's gang, as they were the ones who stood to benefit the most from Lai Yu's demise. In response, Ho Lung ordered an attack on Chi Chung's gang. As the attack loomed, Ho Lung and his men prepared themselves by checking their weapons and practicing their shooting. Once ready, they made their move by sending their men to Chi Chung's bar to obliterate the gang members by blowing up the establishment. In addition, Tin Hung and his team were tasked with dismantling the gang's gambling business, and elsewhere, Ho Lung's gang executed several of Chi Chung's men. The resulting chaos stirred up Chi Chung, prompting him to pay Ho Lung a visit the following day, accompanied by D, a highly respected senior gangster. During their meeting, Chi Chung made a startling revelation. He had not killed Lai Yu. Instead, he confessed to leaking information about Ho Lung's gang's drug dealings to the police. Upon hearing this, Ho Lung reconciled with Chi Chung. The scenes change in a hotel room where Janet, a woman in debt to Ho Tung, reveals to him that Soso and Ting Fat are the killers of Lai Yu. However, the police refuse to arrest them as they want to destroy Ho Lung's gang. Janet agrees to become a spy for both Ho Tung and the police and serve as Ho Tung's comfort woman to repay her debt. The next day, Ho Tung and Ho Lung plan to trap Soso and Ting Fat, but the two suspects catch on and Soso orders her bodyguard to kill one of Ho Lung's men. A fierce battle breaks out, and Ho Tung emerges victorious after Ting Fat is killed by a grenade explosion. Meanwhile, Ho Lung and Tin Hung pursue Soso's car, and Tin Hung tries to shoot it from a distance so that Ho Lung can capture her. As news of a civil war within Ho Lung's gang reaches the police, they quickly respond and arrive at the scene. Janet, who had been seen at the police station, is handcuffed and prevented from participating in the mission. Meanwhile, Soso finds herself cornered, with all her bodyguards subdued by Ho Lung and Tin Hung. Ho Lung approaches her with a gun and accuses her of betraying him and having an affair with Ting Fat. Soso denies the accusations and reminisces about their past when they were poor and struggling, playing cards and working at a nightclub. She tries to appeal to Ho Lung's emotions and reminds him of their romantic story in hopes of sparing her life. However, Ho Lung is not interested in her words and quickly realizes that the police are on their way. He decides to hide in a warehouse and leaves Soso behind to be arrested by the police. Ho Lung finds himself surrounded and orders his men to surrender, but Tin Hung refuses and challenges him to a duel. Ho Lung accepts, and after a fierce battle, he kills Tin Hung. However, as Ho Lung comes out of hiding with guns, the police shoot and kill him. As he reflects on his life, Ho Lung remembers his troubled childhood with Ho Tung. Days later, Ho Tung invites Lisa and Ho Lung's son to go somewhere, and strange deaths begin to occur among those connected to Ho Lung. Chi Hong dies from poisoning during a church service in prison. Soso is killed when her neck is slashed before she enters prison, and Ho Tung is murdered by an unknown assailant while looking for a hiding place. The moral lesson from the story is always remember that actions have consequences. The characters in this story made decisions that ultimately led to their downfall. Lin Ho-toong's violent actions led to his gang's ambush by the police, and Woo's fabrications resulted in him being blackmailed. Tracy's infidelity caused her husband's arrest, and her blackmail attempt led to her capture and eventual execution. Each character's actions, regardless of their intentions, had repercussions that they could not escape. Therefore, it's crucial to consider the long-term consequences of our actions before we make decisions that could affect our lives and those around us.